Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on another session of We Connect Academy Learning from Women Leaders Around the World series. My name is Andrea, and today I am very happy to introduce Roslyn Mugford. She is the CEO of Double Barrel, a certified company based in Canada. She has over 15 years of experience in broadcast television, documentary, and digital video production. And in this session, she is going to provide some tips on how to produce your marketing video solo. I'll let Roslyn introduce herself, but I would like to remind all the attendees that you are in listen only mode. So if you have any questions or comments, please write them down in the Q&A box on the GoToWebinar control panel at the right side of your screen. We will make sure to read them out loud at the end of the webinar. We encourage you to do as many questions as possible. I would like to also remind everybody that the recording of this webinar will be available after today's session, and it will be emailed to all the attendees, but it would also be available on our YouTube channel. If you don't follow us on YouTube, please find us under the name of We Connect International. Thank you, Roslyn. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Over to you.
Great. Good morning, everybody. I'm not able to see you all, so I have no idea where you're all coming from or who any of you are, but I'm excited to be here. This is going to be a pretty fast-paced 45-ish minute presentation about how to create your own video content. I'm sure you're going to get lots out of it, and there will likely be lots of questions. So I'm really excited to be here and to share that with you guys. We are going to roll a quick video to just give you a sense of production value and why it's important that you have good production value in your videos. And that is going to be rolled on Andrea's side. So Andrea, you could take it away.
Anyone can film a video these days, but the one thing that the professionals bring to the table is production value. So, what is production value? Well, this is production value. This is not production value. This is production value. This is not production value. And this is production value. The differences are not subtle. With production value, you look like a professional. Without it, you look like an amateur, and that's going to damage the credibility of whatever it is you're trying to do. So you know you need great production value. How do you get it? You need two things: quality equipment and a skilled crew. You need to shoot with professional quality cameras, sound equipment, lighting, and accessories. This stuff is not cheap, and some of it is so expensive that it's rented rather than bought. But good equipment isn't enough on its own. Skilled people have to operate it. That means hiring the right people to shoot, light, and record sound. On top of that, it takes skilled professionals to turn that footage into a complete polished video. You need skilled editors and other artists operating professional software applications to finish the job. In Hollywood, this can add up to hundreds of people and millions of dollars. But a small commercial production can get professional quality with as few as a half dozen people and a lot less money. And there's a massive difference between a small professional crew and an amateur shooting on a smartphone. Now, there are plenty of cases where production value isn't so important. YouTube is filled with these kinds of videos. And for more casual styles of content, this is totally fine. But if you're a business looking to establish trust with your viewers or make sales, you need to present a professional image in order to establish credibility. And one of the simplest ways to do that is by producing content with great production value.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Everybody can hear me? I'm hoping so.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Andrea. So yeah, so that's a fun little video that just gives you a bit of a breakdown in terms of, what production value is, why you need to be focused on the quality of the video content that you're producing, and why that's equally as important as the message that you're trying to get across. So we produced that a couple of years ago just to give people a sense of what this term production value is when you're talking about video and why it matters. And so it's a great little introduction for this talk today. So It's called Open Studio Hour is what I actually call this when I do this, through Instagram and whatnot, but it's essentially a primer on how to create your own video content. So Double Barrel, obviously, we're an award-winning creative agency, a video production company. We've had 3 Davie Award wins, Marcom Award win, and EDCO award-winning campaign here in Ontario, Canada over the last number of years. We have an extensive portfolio of over 400 video projects that we've produced over the last 10 years that we've been in business, which works out to about a feature film a year. That's a lot of production across all different types of industries. So everything from, education clients, universities, to small business, to big business, to nonprofit organizations, to the federal government here in Canada. So we've really produced for all types of companies with all types of messaging. And that's really made us, your content specialists. So when it comes to putting together video content for your particular business or organization, we really have worked in all types of industries and with all types of styles of video, from documentary to commercial to web content, social media content. So we really have become specialists in terms of how to take your particular message and produce content that is going to be engaging and compelling for your clients, and it's going to obviously drive sales. Our team is myself. Obviously, I'm the founder and creative director at Double Barrel. I started the company 10 years ago in Hamilton, Ontario. I create, produce, and manage all creative that comes through the company. So yeah, 400 projects. That's been a lot of creative over the years. Juan Duque is our animation director. He is the director for all of our animation-based projects, which we've really started to expand more into in the last number of years. And thankfully for us, with COVID and everything happening, the animation has become a really big part of what we do, because everybody's doing a lot of remote work now. So it's been great that we've expanded into animation. And Lena Quiros is our production manager. So she manages production scheduling, timelines, and all kind of the day-to-day processes in terms of creation. So today we're going to go over, why do you need video when it comes to promoting or marketing your company, how to create your own content, developing your message, what the production process looks like, what kinds of gear you need to get started, and budget obviously is the big question there, and also when to bring in the professionals, and then get to some questions at the end. So I'm going to try to move through this as quickly as possible so that we can have some time at the end for questions. This talk tends to take usually about an hour, so I'm going to be on my time here, and Andrea is going to give me the heads up when I'm getting close so that I can really start speaking like a chipmunk in high speed. That's what I mean. So let's get into, why video. I've got a great little video on this as it happens. So Andrea, if you can roll that for me, that would be awesome.
It isn't easy to make videos, and it isn't cheap to make videos. So why make videos? Let's start with hard data. What do millions of people do every night to relax? They watch video. Canadians watch well over 4 hours per day. And more people are watching video on the internet. Video now makes up 78% of internet traffic and rising. 20% of that is cats, but still, that's a lot of video. Video results often rank higher in search results. People are more likely to share a video, and 81% of senior marketing executives are now using online video content in their marketing programs. And more people are experiencing the internet through mobile devices. By 2020, there will likely be 2 or 3 times as many smartphones as computers. Over 40% of time on mobile devices is spent watching video, and this will likely rise to over 50%. Simply put, everybody watches video online, including you, obviously. And why does everyone watch video? Because video is the ultimate media. It can do images, it can do audio, it can even do some text. And unlike most other mediums, it can do motion. Because it can do so much, video is the most efficient means for the viewer to quickly absorb information. Now, video is not necessarily the best at everything. It's not the best way to present a lot of information. Websites and brochures are both better at that. And it's not interactive like a website or an app. But anybody who wants those things needs to already be interested. They need to know who you are, what you do, and are you trustworthy? Video provides that introduction. If someone arrives at a website and there's a video to watch, they'll watch the video because it's quick and it's easy. We're all busy and getting busier. When you click play on a video, you know you can just relax for a bit and watch. So that is why you should make a video. It's not quick and easy to make, but it's quick and easy to enjoy. And the data speaks for itself. People love video, and we'll all be watching even more of it in the future.
Nice. All right. And we're back. Gosh, are you guys getting sick of seeing me yet? So anyhow, that's a really great primer. I'm sure a lot of you know that you need a video, which is why you're here, but it's great to just kind of hear some of the data. We know that 54% of consumers want to see more video content from a brand or business that they support. So that's over 1 in 2. We know that 87% of marketing professionals are using video as a marketing tool. We know that videos are a consumer's favorite type of content to see from a brand on social media. So if you're trying to ingratiate yourself, it's a good way to get started. And we know that 73% of consumers say that they have been influenced by a brand's social media presence when making a purchasing decision. So if you have videos on social media, much higher chance of influencing that purchasing decision. Also, if you have a video on the landing page of your website, people will spend up to 88% more time there. So it's a great way to retain those users that are landing on your site. And we know that 82% rather, of global internet traffic is going to be video by 2022. So the numbers are just increasing. So let's get into creating your own content. Now you know why you need to create it, you know some of the stats around it. So how do we create your own content? What are some things to consider? What are some tips and what are some styles, which is why you guys are here, right? So when to create your own content. So this is like, you're going to do this in-house for yourself. Oh, sorry, just going to turn off. My phone is ringing and it's going in my earbuds. So it's a great idea to create your own video content if you're looking to communicate with employees. In-house video is a really great tool to engage and increase employee engagement and also to educate your employees. It's a really quick and easy, like the video was saying, way to consume content. And it's a great way to get people to listen to the message that you're trying to get across. So it's excellent to use for employee communication. It's also good for updates to stakeholders. So maybe you're doing some, frequent updates to stakeholders where you're trying to share some information that's important. That could be, volunteers, it could be shareholders, it could be, anybody else in the community that you need to get your message across to. And video is a really excellent way to, again, engage and inform those folks. So it's a great chance to use that to create your own content. To increase the frequency of your posts on social media. So we all probably know at this point, especially with COVID, that our social media presences are more important than ever. It's really the open sign for your business. And so if you're needing to increase the frequency of what you're posting on social media, that's a really great time to create your own content, because video is something that you can create, that you can post, that people watch, it will be engaging, and you can do a whole bunch of them at once by yourself, which is fantastic. And so it'll increase that frequency and also increase your engagement, across those networks. And informal occasions. So when it's okay to be informal with your audience and when imperfection is acceptable. So if you are just getting started with creating your own content, look for those moments when it's okay if something comes across a little informal, when it's okay if maybe you have a little bit of a stumble or a little bit of a glitch, in your content, and make sure that your audience is going to be accepting of that. So thinking through any opportunity where that might be okay for yourself and for your business. It's a good opportunity to create your own content. Oh, sorry, 1 second here. I'm on my page still. Next. So what kinds of styles? So, as you're thinking about, okay, maybe I want to do some employee engagement videos, or I want to do some new social media content. What kinds of styles should I be looking at? Because of course, with anything creative, the sky is the limit. So it's great to give yourself a little bit of a fence around what you might want to create, so that you, have a place to start. So talking head videos are a really great way to get started with creating your own content. It tends to be simpler to produce. You can use a single camera. You can do it with your smartphone. that's the type of shoot that you can create for those updates to employees or updates to stakeholders. You could literally be, having your phone on a tripod sitting in front of you recording. And you can also use it for things that are really simple, like tip videos. So if you work in a type of industry where maybe there's a lot of information that you can get across to people with tips, like financial planning, or like, literally any industry, like for me, for example, video production, or maybe it's, some sort of clothing company, tips on different clothing, or it's a fitness business, it's a larger brand, you're looking to get across tips on how to use your products, like gardening, for example. Those are a great opportunity to do talking head videos. And they're a great starter style because they're so simple. It takes one person, takes one camera. You can usually shoot it yourself. So that's a great style to get going with if you're going to start producing your own content. The next style, which is something that really, it seems counterintuitive, but it actually makes a lot of sense, is live streaming. So, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube all support live streams at this point. And the great thing about them is that people are accustomed to them being a little bit off the cuff because it's live. So if you have, any bit of a flub, or there's something that happens that isn't perfect, people are going to be really forgiving of that on a live stream because they expect it, because they know it's live. So when you're just getting started with video content, a live stream can be a really great way to engage that audience. Also, social media platforms like Facebook, if you go live on your platform, it gives you a little boost in your presence on that platform. So you might pop up in someone's feed at the top saying, so-and-so is going live now. On Instagram, there's a little bubble that flashes at the top that shows that this person's going live. So it gives you a way to kind of separate as well out from the never-ending stream of content that exists on social media. It gives you a little boost so that you're more likely to be seen by your audience. And we all need that right now because there is so much social media content available. So any way to stand out on those channels and get more people to look at you is best. And live streams will do that for you. And this can be high information content. It can be, things to do with, again, tips, or it can be to do with, a new launch that you're having or that you're promoting, or a new product that you want to show. There's all different types of things that you can do with a live stream, introduce a new team member or something along those lines. So it's a great opportunity for you to kind of get out there and get in front of people and get familiar with being on camera as well, if it's going to be you yourself doing your own content like me. And then demos or reviews are really excellent as well for starter styles. Reason being is that people often, when you're just getting started with video, it's much easier to have something that you can kind of demo to your audience and show. It takes the pressure off of you having to be the person doing all the talking, and it's just you on camera. If you have something there to demo and to show and to maybe point to and talk about and kind of, it's like unboxing videos, those are great. Or a new product, hey, look what we just got in. There's this new gadget that I want to show you, a new piece of clothing, a new, etc. Sky is the limit, literally. A product demo can be a really great way to engage your audience too. Unboxing videos have been so popular on the internet for so long, you guys. It's crazy. People love to watch things being opened. It's like Christmas, right? And for that, all you need is a single camera, yourself, and a prop of your choice. So they're really great ways to get started. So those are three that you can think about when considering shooting your own content: talking head videos, live streaming, and demos or reviews of things as well are all really great. Single camera. So some tips to keep in mind when you're just getting started with producing, start small, right? So, don't take on that huge project, for someone down the hall who's wanting to launch something massive. You're just getting started at this. Don't sign yourself up for grandiose projects or big campaigns or launches. Nothing that's high stakes when you're just getting started, because there's nothing. I mean, producing video in itself is stressful enough. You don't want to add on the extra layer of having a lot of people looking at you and looking at this first thing that you're doing, and it can make it even more stressful. So always start small. Think about the little things you can do, like I was mentioning: product demos, reviews, tip videos, talking head videos. Keep it tight, keep it small, and don't take anything on that's dramatic in nature. So anything where you need to be bringing in actors, or where you're getting costuming or elaborate props or sets or things like that. Those things are really complex, and it's not a good idea to try to take that on as one of the first things that you do. You know, maybe as you get down the road a little ways, you get a little more comfortable. You know, that's always a possibility, but yeah, don't start with that right out of the gate. Do create in-house content that you need to capture, but that you don't necessarily have the budget to sink into it, right? So maybe that's social media. Again, you need to churn content. We all know we've got to produce content, you know, every day, every other day to keep ourselves at the top of that pile. So, you know, if you're needing to create a lot of content, but you don't necessarily have the budget to hire someone to do that for you, do create that type of content for yourself. Think about ways like, what types of videos can I produce for myself that I can post regularly to social media that will be small, simple, but engaging and interesting for people. You know, that's a really great place to start as well. High value for yourself, definitely. And, you know, remember that badly executed video can have the opposite effect from what you intended. And so that kind of goes back to the why production value piece that you watched off the top, which is, you know, you're trying to build credibility with your audience with your video content. So something that's poorly executed can have a negative effect. It can actually come across as, ooh, you know, I'm not sure if I want to engage with that brand because that didn't look very good. So you have to be really careful when you're getting into video that you're not, again, taking on something too big that's outside of your comfort zone. You know, if you just start small, keep it simple, you'll be fine, okay? Moving on to developing your message. So this is something that we work with clients all the time. This is kind of the core of what we do. Clients will come to us with something that they need to get across, a message that they need to convey, and then we'll work with them on that in terms of what's the best way to convey that. So how do you start developing your message? You know, the first thing that we do with our clients is we really zero in on their target audience. So it's critical with video content that you know who the audience is right out of the gate, and that you're very laser focused about that, because different audiences, like say, for example, if you're going to speak to 18, 19, 20-year-olds, your video content is going to look very different than if you're trying to speak to 40-year-olds, right? So you have to be super aware of who that audience is, and, you know, think about what type of style and what type of content is going to appeal to that audience. Don't try to be everything to everybody. That's a really common mistake that I encounter. You really shouldn't do that with video, because you're going to miss the boat in terms of that audience that you're really trying to target. So the more refined you can get, the more impactful and engaging your content is going to be for that particular audience. Really critical to stay focused on that. So outline that right out of the gate. Who are we talking to? Who's our audience? Number two is deciding on your video objectives. You know, again, this is something that I deal with a lot, which is, you know, clients that maybe don't know what their objective is. They just know that they need to do this video because they have to have a video. They haven't thought too much more about why that might be. So really sit down, think to yourself, like, you know, what does this video need to achieve, right? Like, when the video is complete, what step do I want people to take next? What am I wanting them to do at the end of it? That's critical to know at the outset, because really you're going to be somewhat reverse engineering from that, right? If you know, for example, I want people to go to our website at the end of this and look at this particular product, your entire piece is going to lead up to that moment. So think through, what do you want this video to achieve, and get really crystal clear about that. Getting buy-in from your key stakeholders is also next, and that's really important, which is agreeing on your core message. It's critical that from the outset of any video project that you have all of your stakeholders involved in this process. So in the process of thinking through who is the target audience, what are our objectives, you know, you want to have all your stakeholders involved at this point, because it's far easier to change things on paper than it is once you get it shot and in the can, as we say, and into your edit. You know, once something is in the edit, it's really difficult to change. So you don't want to have a situation where you're showing this video that you've created, you've worked on it for 3, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, you know, to a key stakeholder, and they say, oh, well, you know, we needed to say that, or we didn't say that, or why isn't this in there? You know, because at that point, it depending on what the change is, it can be almost impossible to fix, you know, without going right back to the starting gate. So make sure that when you're refining your audience, thinking through your objectives, that you're getting that buy-in from your key stakeholders at that point, and really getting a good look at the script. And then creating a video brief. So, you know, once you've figured all these things out, create a little blueprint for yourself, a little brief. This video is meant to speak to this audience, these are the objectives, and this is our core messages. Just have that for yourself to come back to as you need it throughout the process, because we get into process in a few minutes here. But as you start to go down that line, it gets harder and harder. You can start to drift away from what the key core was of the project. So really good idea to create a little brief for yourself and always come back to that as you're creating. So the production process, here's your path to great video. How do you do this? What is the process? So there's a great Hollywood axiom which says a film is written 3 times. Once when it's written, once when it's shot, and once when it's edited. And that is so true, and it's something that I live by in my work, which is, when you write the script for something, you have an idea it's going to be this one thing. Then when you go out and you shoot it, sometimes something can happen, or maybe somebody says something different, or something else comes up that changes that script a little bit. And you go, oh, this would actually be better if we kind of just redirected it slightly. It's still in line with your core objectives, but slightly redirecting it. And then once you get it into the edit suite as well, there can be things that you encounter where you go, oh, I didn't get a shot of this, or I needed a shot of that, or maybe I got a shot of this and that actually changes things, and now it's this. So it really is written 3 times when you script it, when you shoot it, when you edit it. And so it's important, again, to have that brief and keep coming back to it throughout the process so that you don't get off track, okay? So here's our, in-house steps for how we produce video. We have, number 1, our research and script writing phase. So this is where, again, for us, it's a project kickoff meeting with the client. We determine what the messaging objectives are. We figure out what the communication strategy is surrounding it, if there is one, or is there a larger launch this needs to be a part of, or a campaign. We do all of our deep diving, and then we do our script writing. So that's where we start. So once you've got all of your details on it, what it needs to be, who it's speaking to, what needs to be in the video, and then you can create your script. We usually have a round of revisions on the script with the client. From there, you roll that into pre-production. So pre-production is where you start planning for your shoot. So this is like, do I need any props for this? Am I going to need specific lighting? Do I need to bring in someone else to be interviewed? Do I have to go somewhere? Is there going to be travel involved? All of these things that you start thinking about. Do I need to rent gear or equipment, or bring in a crew, or etc.? That's your pre-production phase, where you've got your script. Now you're starting to plan. Your production phase, obviously, is where you're actually shooting your piece, and oddly, it's usually the smallest amount of time. It seems like it gets all the glory because it's when the cameras come out, but really it's the smallest amount of time that you're going to spend is in production. Unless you're in animation, which is a different thing. And then you head into post-production, and post-production is where the editing takes place. So this is really, I'm speaking here to like video content as opposed to animation, which is a different thing. But that's generally how it works. You do your research, you write your script, you go into plan it all out, you produce it, shoot it, and then you go into your edit. So those are the 4 phases of production of a video project. And there's a lot of mistakes, obviously, that can be made along the way. So I've got a couple of them here for you guys. So number 1 is that, taste is really subjective. Too many cooks spoil the broth. It's really difficult to completely appeal to everybody's taste who might be on your committee of folks who are overseeing the video. The more that you can have just one director, one person who's in charge of delivering this piece from start to finish, the better, because it's like a design by committee. So if you start to get a whole bunch of people that are giving input and thoughts, and I don't really like that color, I like this color, I don't really like that music, I like this music, and before you know it, you've got some kind of a Frankenstein of a piece where everybody's had input and say on it, and it starts to kind of turn into a mishmash, a bit of a soup. So it's a really good idea to try to just have one director on your project if you can. Things to keep in mind, obviously, your script matters. Remember that video is not a brochure. So this is something else I encounter a lot, which is, it's very common for people to want to like say everything, right, in a video, but that's not what video is for. Video is meant to engage and entertain and grab attention from your audience, right? It's not meant to say everything about your product. So like, you don't want to have a situation where you're reading all of this text and you never have a chance to take a breath. It's just too much, right? So keep in mind that less is more, and edit your script. Try to make it as tight as possible. You know, be really choosy with your talent. So who you choose to represent you on camera is really a make or break creative decision. So, you know, make sure that you're being cautious about who you're asking to go on camera and that they're comfortable on camera. You know, I've seen many times where people have been brought in to be interviewed on different pieces and they're just not comfortable, and it's a terrible experience for everybody. So don't try to drag someone in who's not comfortable on camera. Okay, be really choosy there. Also look for people who are personable and friendly and having, you know, good energy on camera. That's what you really want. And backwards is not an option. So, you know, production is a linear process. So, you know, like you saw back here, research and script writing to pre-production to production to post-production, you can't really go backwards, right? So it's important that you get your buy-in from people all along the way, all throughout your process, right? So for Double Barrel, we have, you know, revisions with a client at the script writing phase, and then we have revisions with the client at the post-production phase. So they get, you know, a really good handle on the creative, and they have lots of input at all of those important points. Same thing for you. You know, if you've got key stakeholders that you need to have involved, make sure they're involved at the key points. They don't need to be involved in every decision. You know, that again is for you, the director, to decide. But do make sure that you're checking in with them to get the key feedback in those specific moments where you really want it, which is really your script writing and your editing sections of the process. So we'll get a little bit into gear to get you started. So, you know, there's as many different types of gear as there are different types of video that you can produce. So this can be really overwhelming for people when you're just getting going. But really all you need is, you know, a basic camera. And that can be anything from, you know, like your smartphone. iPhones now are, their video quality is really astounding. It's gotten better and better and better. And you can even get little things for them like lenses. You can add on lenses to them. I've actually got one right here. There's a company called Moment based out of Oregon that does excellent lenses for your smartphone. So this is actually one here. I'll just show you guys really quickly. So this is a wide angle lens that I can actually just mount on my phone, and I'll show you here. So that's the back of my phone. It's a specialized case that allows you to actually mount it, and I just twist it on, and there you go. So now I've got a wide angle lens on my camera, which provides me all kinds of different opportunities. So there's the equipment available now for smartphones is just, it's gotten amazing. You definitely will need a tripod. So you can get tripods for iPhones and all kinds of smartphones now. And you know, you really want a tripod because there's nothing worse than a shaky camera. A shaky camera is really a sign of amateur videography, and so you want to at all costs avoid having that shaky camera. So make sure you get yourself a tripod and you invest in a tripod. And then the other thing to keep in mind is your sound. So I'm just looking around at my desk. I'm like, do I have my sound equipment here that I could show you guys? Anyway, there's really great little wireless mics now that you can get for your iPhone. I'm using a set called the Rode Wireless Go. And they're just tiny little mic packs. You can get a little lavalier that clips on. And the quality of your sound will be increased by like 1,000%. Maybe not that much, but close. And you really want to have good sound because people will forgive bad video, like in terms of it's a little dark and they can't quite see you, but they will not forgive good bad sound. Rather, they will not forgive bad sound. So make sure that you are paying close attention to your sound and that you have some sort of equipment in mind. If you're holding your iPhone close to you or you're filming a smartphone piece and it's about this far away, it's probably fine. Like smartphones actually have a really good microphone on them. I'm constantly amazed when I'm shooting with them at how good they pick up my audio. But again, if it's something professional and you're wanting it to look and sound professional, then I highly recommend that you invest in some microphones or a microphone. Lighting is really important as well. So, you know, as you can probably tell right now, I should likely turn up my screen a little bit so you have a bit more light on me. You know, it's really critical that people can obviously see what it is that you're trying to shoot, but you don't want to invest a whole bunch in lighting equipment because lighting equipment can get really expensive. You know, there's great little kind of ring lights you can get now that you can put, you know, in front of you that do a beautiful kind of a halo light on your face, which is really nice. Or you can just find a really good natural lighting. You can sit in front of a window or position yourself so that you have some really nice natural light coming in, so that you're illuminating yourself well. You don't want like dark shadows under your eyes and things like that. So just kind of find a window, find a well lit natural room, naturally lit room, and you know, just kind of try a few angles, right? Just position yourself, look at the lighting, see how it's looking. That's really, really important. Editing suite, obviously you're going to need some sort of an editing suite. So here at Double Barrel, we use Adobe Premiere Pro, and we're all Mac based. You know, you can get PCs that have editing software as well. There's all kinds of entry points for this type of stuff. Final Cut Pro X on Mac has come a long way and is really good if you're just getting started. You know, so these are things to think about in terms of your editing, but you will need some type of editing suite. And all of the coffee, right? Because production is a time-consuming process. You're going to need lots of energy and lots of coffee for those late nights in the editing suite, right? Something else to keep in mind is that, you know, if you're going to get involved in producing your own content, you should be tech savvy. You should really be proficient in technology, and you should be more than comfortable with learning new digital tools and software packages. You know, it takes a fair amount of comfortability with technology to shoot your own content. And if you're the type of person, I find myself getting to be like this more and more, where you get frustrated really easily by technology and it makes you kind of angry when you're trying to use it and it's just not your thing. Don't try. Don't even try. It's going to make you even more frustrated. Find somebody who can shoot it for you. But if you like technology and you are excited to learn about it and you want to learn more, then definitely this is a great opportunity for you. Familiarity with photography or with camera basics is a huge plus. So things like aperture, you know, shutter speed, different lenses, your ISO on your camera. If you're familiar with those things, then that's a huge plus. Not necessary though, but a huge plus. You should be really good under pressure. Producing video can be a really high pressure thing depending on the situations that you're in. Maybe you're interviewing, you know, the head of your company, or you're, you know, it's a stressful situation. So, you know, it's a good idea for yourself to, if you're going to take on video, that you're good under pressure. You know, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen, right? And you also need to be able to work really well with others, because video it often is very collaborative. You have to get other people involved. You have to write, get feedback from other people. You know, you might have to bring in some crew from time to time, et cetera, work with an editor. So you need to be able to really work with people well and be collaborative. So these are things to think about too. And it's really helpful to have strong communication skills. Great video always starts with great writing. And so it's really super helpful for you to have strong communication skills if you're looking to produce your own video. Again, not a priority, not a necessity, but it's very helpful, especially when it comes to editing. If you can edit down to succinct sound bites with video, you're going to be off to a great start. And common mistakes. So these are things to keep in mind when you're getting into producing. That could be a stumbling block for you. So number one is not planning enough. So happens very often, I see with people that, you know, they get into producing a video project and they just hadn't really thought it through enough, right? They hadn't given it quite enough thought. They hadn't thought about, you know, what the lighting might be in that situation, or what kinds of props they might need, or et cetera. Really important to make sure you spend a lot of time in that pre-production part of the process and plan. Spend as much time there as you need to make sure that everything's ironed out before you get started, and you'll have a very smooth shoot and edit process. Other common mistake is not using a tripod. This is also, like I mentioned, very common, where you get a lot of shaky cam and it just looks amateur, and you really don't want that. So make sure, again, that you have a tripod, something to keep your camera steady. Not paying attention to audio. So, you know, again, if it's yourself talking or you're interviewing someone, we can really get focused on making sure that the video looks good and that we have the frame and they're in it and it's lit well, and that's great. But oftentimes audio gets forgotten, and that's really a big problem. So, you know, when you're shooting that, your video content, make sure that you're paying attention to the audio and that you're checking it and looking at your bar levels on your camera screen and really double checking that your audio is good. Not considering lighting. Again, another one is, you know, where you go into, so many times I've been on a shoot and I've had someone take me, you know, said we need a location to shoot this interview, and they take me into like an office that has 0 windows and has a halogen, or a, you know, not a halogen, but a light overhead that's like green, essentially fluorescent in color. So, you know, it's always important to think before you shoot of where you're going to shoot it and where the best location is for the lighting. Super important as your audio. And the last one is not considering noise levels. So again, you know, if you're planning to shoot, say you're going to do a bunch of tip videos with different people from your company, and you want to kind of do them all in one day, and you're going to do them all in one specific room, you know, just think about like what happens outside that room during the day. You know, is there a lot of noise outside of it? Is there an intercom in the room that's beeping every 5 minutes? You know, because those are all things that are going to interrupt your production process. It's going to take you more time to do what you need to do. And it can also just kill a production entirely if the noise levels of the location that you've chosen are just too high. You know, here where I am, I do a lot of voiceover work, and I do have like a road outside my house that can be quite loud. So I always have to be cognizant of when I'm recording my voiceover that there's not a large truck going by or whatever. So anyway, these are just things to keep in mind as you're going through to planning your video project. So we're 9:41, closing in on the last 20 minutes here. So I'm going to try to get through this last little bit in about 10 minutes so that I can get to some questions if you guys have any. The dollars and cents of it all, obviously. So if you're getting started with a kit for yourself, you know, generally speaking nowadays, you can get into a camera, you know, that's like a DSLR, like a mirrorless DSLR, so a Sony a7S II, for around the $2,500, $3,000 mark, you know, plus your lenses. Smartphones are getting more and more expensive. So I believe like the iPhone that I have now was close to the $2,000 mark, which is kind of insane for an iPhone, but the quality is definitely there for the camera. So I've put on this, you know, little chart here that around $2,500 should get you into a camera that will be good enough to get you started, whether it's a smartphone or a DSLR mirrorless. You will need some kind of audio kit. I have in here $1,000 for an audio kit. That's probably higher end. That's for something maybe a little more professional. You know, the Rode wireless Goes that I have for my iPhone only ran about $300, which is really reasonable for professional audio equipment. So, and it plugs directly into the iPhone. So you don't actually need, and it'll plug into like any smartphone. I keep saying iPhone, but if you guys have any other type of smartphone, it'll likely work on that too. Just double check the manufacturer specs there. You might need a little adapter or something, but so you can get into an audio kit for a smartphone for probably $500. But if you're going to do something a little more professional, it will likely be around $1,000 for a lavalier kit, maybe even a little more. A lighting kit, if you wanted to invest in some lighting, you can get a pretty decent kit for around $1,000. That would be, you know, some LED panels, might be a ring light for like by your laptop or over your laptop, so that when you're doing webcam things and whatnot, you've got some good lighting on yourself. But again, if it's basic and it's really smartphone and your webcam, you can probably get into lighting for less than $500. Your editing suite is also going to be the other big cost when it comes to producing videos. So, you know, I'm on a Mac and they tend to run expensive. I think the latest one's around $4,000 for a laptop. But you can definitely get into, you know, computers that can edit for far less than that. I think $2,500 would be a good entry point for a computer that actually has a processing power. That's what you're really looking for there, is something that can actually process the video, because, you know, iPhones even now are shooting in 4K, and a lot of smartphones are starting to go that way. So 4K footage can be really intensive on your computer's processor. So you really need a computer that has the processing power to be able to render that and work with that footage. So around $2,500 should probably get you in the game there. And then, you know, a decent tripod. This is like, you're looking at a smartphone tripod, you definitely get something under $500. If you're getting again into professional stuff, it's going to be more. It's going to be like, you know, probably closer to 1,000. But these are all just numbers to get you started and to get you thinking. So I've got here on the right that, you know, your basic camera, tripod, and audio kit with your lighting and edit suite is going to run you between $5,000 and $10,000 about to get started. And that would be if you had to buy a camera, you had to buy a computer, you know, you had to buy a bit of lighting, a bit of audio, and your accessories, etc. So that's a good number to keep in mind. And then obviously when to bring in the professionals. So I'm over my head now, what? So I like to call this one. So bring in the professionals when you're doing something that is high stakes. So it's a launch, it's a campaign, it's a message that you want to get out to as many people as possible. It's going to be high profile, you know, failure is not an option. Those are not the kind of projects that you want to try to produce yourself. Those are the kinds of projects that you want to bring in a team for, like me, to help you with and to help you navigate that. You want to bring in the professionals if talent is required. And by talent, I mean casting and working with actors or high-level experts. So we've done both. You know, you have high-level experts. Maybe it's you know, someone from television who's going to come in. Like we've worked with gardening experts here in Canada who are on national shows. You know, or you're bringing in high-profile actors. You're bringing in people to do something dramatic. Those are the types of people that you want to have a crew and an experienced director to work with. You know, to make sure that they have the best experience as well. You don't want people getting upset because, you know, they feel that the shoot is not organized as well as it should be, or, you know, it's you're not as prepared as you should be. You know, when you're just getting started, it's not a good idea to try to do that type of stuff. So it's a great option there to bring in the experts like us. Bring in the experts when you need wow factor. So you need something that has like show-stopping visuals or cinematic videography. You need something that's really going to knock the socks off your audience, that has, you know, and again, this goes into the next point, which is creative is key. You need something original, you know, that's going to approach your brand or subject with a really cool vision. You need to have that wow factor. That's where you really want to bring us in. You know, over the last 10 years, we've had the pleasure and the opportunity to work with so many brands and so many companies creatively, that we're a great resource for coming up with super original, cool content for you, if that's what you're looking to do. So those are the 4 places you want to bring us in. Double Barrel, here we've refined our production process over a decade. We have an award-winning portfolio of work with hundreds of clients across all video styles and industries. You know, and the key words there being production process. It's really critical that you have a solid process when you're working with a production team, and that you're really aware of what that process is, even for yourself as you're working in-house, so that, you know, what you get at the end of your project is what you expected at the beginning. You know, here our goal is not to ever have a client get to the end and go, what is this? This isn't what I thought. You know, we want you to be involved at all of those key steps, so that what you get is what you wanted from the outset. And so that's really coming down to the production process. And like I say, we've refined that over the last 10 years, working with all of these clients. And, you know, with other agencies, it depends on the agency, obviously, but, you know, you can get people who are less experienced with video in general. They might be less experienced with the style of video that you want to do. Maybe they haven't done commercials, or they haven't done social media video, or they haven't done documentary, or maybe they're just not experienced with your industry. And, you know, that's where our depth of experience and knowledge really comes in. Because we have so much experience with all of these industries, we're able to really speak the language, and understand the ins and outs of your industry in a way that other agencies might not be able to. And there may be an undefined process as well, which can lead to not the best results. Just things to keep in mind if you're looking to hire the pros. And if you want to connect with us, we're on Twitter at @doublebarrel_. We're on Facebook, Double Barrel Studios. And obviously we're on Instagram at @doublebarrel_Inc. And then on the next page, I have my my web URL here is doublebarrelstudios.com. And my email, roz@doublebarrelstudios.com. So that's it for me. I think I made it through with just enough time. I slid right in there under the.
Yes.
So if you guys, yes.
Okay, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Roslyn. Really entertaining and very informative. You got a few questions here from Lena. Can you elaborate a little bit more on this idea of talking head videos?
Sure. Yeah. So talking head videos essentially are, when you have one person speaking directly to camera and they're talking to camera about maybe it's a tip that they're giving. So I see real estate agents do this a lot. We've actually produced a lot of those for real estate agents where they're, here's your Tuesday tip. Here's the thing you need to know this week. Maybe you're a fitness professional. You're looking to talk about a particular type of exercise that's really beneficial. Maybe you're a financial planner, you're looking to give insights and tips to your clients. Maybe you are looking to demo a new product that you have in your shop. Maybe you have a new product, your company has produced a new product that you want to show off. Anytime it's just a single person on camera speaking directly to a single camera, that's what I would consider to be a talking head video. Yeah, and they can be used across all different industries and all types of subject matter. Hopefully that's helpful.
Yes, thank you so much. And I would like to remind everybody that this is the moment for you to send your questions. So please find the Q&A box on the right hand of your screen on the GoToWebinar panel to write your questions, and I will make sure to read them out loud. What tripod do you recommend? Do you have any brands that you recommend for all the gears? Could you share a little bit more details also for the sound kit and all that?
Sure, yeah. So for the tripods, generally speaking, we use Manfrotto, which is an Italian brand. They're very popular in the film industry, but they can be pricey. So if you're looking at something that's going to be more useful for an iPhone, there's all kinds of brands available online, really. A good one that I've used in the past is GorillaPod or Joby, J-O-B-Y. They're really excellent tripods, and they kind of have these bendy legs and stuff that you can like wrap all over things. And if you're trying to do a cool talking head video, that's one way to do it, is to have a cool angle with your tripod. So the GorillaPod legs that bend and are cool can be really fun to work with for your smartphone. So that's one that you could look at there. For the lighting kits, we have in the past used like Aperture, which is a LED panel kit. We do still have a few of those. They tend to be really cost effective and they do a good job. For the higher end, we use Felix lights, which tend to be expensive. They're about $1,000 a light. Ouch. But they're really cool because you can adjust the color temperature on them if you're nerdy like that. So yeah, so they're really great. And then for audio kits, like I had mentioned earlier, we have been using the Rode Wireless Go for smartphone videography. For more professional videography, we use Sennheiser, has been our go-to brand. So we have a Sennheiser kit. And with that, you have to have an audio recorder device that goes along with it that they plug into. So we've been using a Tascam, which is like a little, I'm looking around on my desk. I'm like, I should be showing you guys this. I should take my own advice and do a demo. The Tascams are great. You can plug directly into them and they record all of your audio for you. And then when it comes to cameras in-house, we obviously I have an iPhone, and we also have on the higher end, we have a Sony a7S II and a Sony a6500, which are all really good cameras and are great if you're looking to do more professional type stuff.
And you showed the little lens for the mobile phone. Can you repeat the
Yep.
brand?
Yes, of course. So this is Moment. So Moment is a company out of Oregon. They actually launched with a Kickstarter campaign years and years ago. And they produce these really cool iPhone lenses. And they also produce cases, which I really like. So you don't have to have the case, but it's really helpful to have one. And you get the cases for all different types of smartphones, not just the iPhone. But they have like a little kind of a piece on the back where you can screw the phone or the lens into so that it's nice and tight on there. It doesn't shake, doesn't move. So you need to invest in a case for that as well. So that company is out of, it's out of Oregon. It's called Moment, Moment.
Gotcha. And you mentioned Mac over PC, but can you also edit using, PCs? What is your recommendation there?
Yeah, you can. I mean, honestly, like in the 15 years or so I've been doing this, I've never used a PC to edit. But I do know that you can, and I think the software is called Movie Maker, something like that. We are an Adobe suite now, so we use Premiere Pro and After Effects for our editing software. And obviously I'm on a MacBook Pro. I have a MacBook Pro laptop. And our team that does animation is all Mac as well. Yeah, so I can definitely recommend Mac. I can't really speak too much to the PC side, unfortunately.
Gotcha. And when it comes to remote work, are you helping companies outside of Canada, and right now with the COVID-19 crisis, are you helping companies remotely? Like, would you be able to work with companies that are based in other countries?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. So our production team is actually international. So Lena is based in Spain, Juan is in South America in Colombia, and I'm based here in Canada. So we work all over the world on all different kinds of projects. And right now we're working with a number of Canadian companies as well on a number of different projects, and everything is remote. So essentially the way that it works is that we are producing, if it's animation, everything is scripted and storyboarded and written, and we're all still working together on that. And then when it comes to the animation process, we're sending you drafts and storyboards and et cetera, so you're able to see it. And we use, as we progress, and we use a software called Frame.io, which is a online software that allows you to have input and feedback on your videos as they're created. So it's really a seamless process from start to finish. So that's been good for us in terms of COVID and everything that's been happening, is that we have been able to make that shift no problem. Yeah.
That's great. And what is the best way to make technology videos? We have Juana saying that she has been trying not to be too technical, but
Okay.
get her message across about her company, or her company. So what is your recommendation there?
Technology videos, yeah, I have, we've done a lot of those, and I feel your pain. I totally get that. So a lot of times with technology and with content that's really kind of difficult to show, we'll use animation. So explainer videos are really good for technologies. So like, you used to see a lot of them in the hand-drawn style. We've kind of, I mean, we're getting a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? We're evolving. We've evolved a bit from the hand-drawn style at this point. But yeah, like vectorized iconography with motion is really cool for technology and explaining what a technology does. There's all kinds of really cool ways that you can do like visual effects overlays on top of live action footage as well to show technology. That gets a lot pricier. So, if you're looking at just kind of getting the message across about tech and what it is that you do, an animation would be a great way, an explainer video would be a great way to do that. Yeah.
Awesome. And then one last question. Andrea here is asking, do you think that MacBook Air is strong enough to process, the smartphone videos or editing those videos?
That's a great question too. I've had a MacBook Air and it wasn't the greatest for doing video. I did eventually have to trade it up because I found that, yeah, it did struggle. But the best way to find out is just to, install some editing software and just try it out and see what happens. If your computer's really slow and it's really chugging and it's like, you're trying to edit something, and from the time you're clicking on your timeline to the time that it's actually noticing that you're there, if there's a big lag there, then that's a really good indicator. But if you want to send me an email, you can drop me your processor specs in an email to roz@doublebarrelstudios.com, and I can give you some more insights on that.
Well, thank you so much. You're receiving a lot of thank yous and congratulations. So I join them at congratulating you, Roslyn. This has been really, really insightful. I really hope everyone is feeling they know a little bit more about video production. I know I do. So thank you so much for that.
Yes, no problem.
Roslyn's contact in on your screen. So I would encourage you to get in touch with her in case you're interested in, perhaps getting her help to produce your marketing videos. Thank you so much, Roslyn, today. And I will just like to remind everybody that this has been recorded, and this is the video. I don't know if you missed the first part, it is going to be shared over email, and also it is going to be posted on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Roslyn. This was great. I hope
Wonderful.
you
Yes.
have a lot of new connections out of this, and we really enjoyed it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I was going to mention too, if anybody has any further questions, feel free to reach out to me at my email. I'm happy to give you any insights that you might need.
Thank you so much. All right.
You bet. Have a great day. Okay.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.